Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss here on BTRFS file system and how to create a backup of the same and restore it on a Gentoo Linux. So now the question arises, what is a BTRFS file system? It sounds very new and fancy. So we'll discuss a bit about that and then we'll move on further into the backup creation and restoration process in Gentoo. So generally, BTRFS is a type of file system which is recently developed and still is under development. Today we are going to see one of its key feature of enabling the snapshot feature and restoring it from its any given point of time when we have stored that snapshot in. So before proceeding, a bit of background on the BTRFS file system is this is a well-known file system which is popular because of its copy over write feature. So what is copy over write? So generally when we talk about a file system like ext4, what happens is whenever you type down or you make some changes in a file A, like here file A, we did some changes, so that will be overwritten. So the old copy is basically lost. But in BTRFS what happens is the metadata of that particular file A is still kept and only the metadata changes its pointing from the old file to the new file, the new edited file, which is basically the edited file A. So as you can see here, the metadata is pointing to two files. One is with a dashed line and one is with the bold line. So the dashed line is basically the old copy and the bolded line is the edited file. So what I'm going to do is, like, what if we have to, let's say, take a snapshot. So what happens is we will take the snapshot of, let's say, before editing. So all the file A and like similar files will be taken into regards into a snapshot, and the new file will still exist. So you have two copies of the file. So even if something happens to the new file, you can still restore it by going back to file A, which is in your snapshot. So now how are we going to take like the backup of the system and how we are going to restore it? So I have stated here a few commands which we'll see in few minutes how we are going to execute them. So to create a snapshot, it's a very simple command. We'll just give BTRFS subvolume snapshot -r, and -r here is here for recursion, and path of source. The path of source here, like in my case, I'll be making a snapshot of the whole of the root file structure. So we'll use slash, or else we can use any other folder of which you want to take the snapshot. And then we have to give another path, which is path of snapshot folder with the name, which will basically be the place where you want to store all your snapshots with the name of the snapshot which you want to give. Okay, and if once the subvolume like the snapshot is created, the snapshot is created, we can see it using BTRFS subvolume list. And these commands will always be available to anyone who is running BTRFS or who has installed BTRFS file system in his Gentoo or Linux or wherever we are talking about. Coming to the restoration commands, so we have, like, now you have got the snapshot. Now how do you want to restore it? So that is also very easy with this. We just type down BTRFS subvolume snapshot. We give the path of the snapshot and then we give path of subvolume. And here the path of subvolume is, like, why I'm talking about subvolume, because BTRFS has this feature where it creates new subvolumes. And there you can store all the contents of the snapshot once it's extracted from. Okay, so this is all about the BTRFS file system, the creation commands and the restoration commands. Now let's move on to see its real life execution. So here I'm just going to start my Gentoo. So my Gentoo is already loading. So meanwhile the Gentoo is starting, I'll just give a bit of background what we are going to do on the system. So my Gentoo is already having partitions created and I have BTRFS installed in the file system in the SDA3 mainly. So my SDA3 partition is already encrypted. So that is why it's going to ask me for a password to open it and decrypt it. So I'm just going to give my passphrase here, and once I have given the passphrase, it will take maybe a minute or so to proceed further. So what are we going to do with the BTRFS backup and restore? How are we going to proceed with it? So basically I have two users in my system. One is Rami. So in that user Rami, I'm going to create two files, let's say F1 and F2. And then what we are going to do, we are going to create a script which will basically take a snapshot of my root folder, and it will store it into a particular designated folder which I'll be creating just for your snapshots. So once that is done, I'm going to go and delete those files from the user Rami, that F1 and F2, and then we are going to restore the snapshot. We are going to use the BTRFS restore command to restore my particular files from the snapshot, and then we are going to check if those F1 and F2 files are present in the restored folder system or not, in the file system mainly. So I'll just wait for the system to start. So here my system has started. So I'm just going to give my credentials. I'm using the root user, and here I'm going to give my passphrase. So I'm into the system. So let's get started. So first let's see the users which are present in my system. So as you can see, we don't see anything in the root. So I'll just go to cd home, and I'm going to see how many users are there. So as I told, there are two users called Rami and another one is Rick. So I'm going to go inside Rami, and I'm just going to see what we have. We don't have any folder right now, so we are just going to create casually two folders. Let's say F1, we don't need to give an extension as of now, and F2. Okay, and I'm going to, let's say, give it the permission 750 F star. Okay, so this will give all the permissions, like it is accessible to, not all, it is basically read, write and execute, and for F1 and F2. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a particular folder where I will be placing my script. So I'm going to use today's user local bin, because that is a preferable folder. We will be placing our snapshot script there. How to tear the snapshot creation script. Okay, so let me traverse to that particular folder, local bin, and here we have nothing. So now I'm going to do nano snap, let's say take a snap, or let me give it more professional, snapshot creation.sh. So let's get started. So I'll just create my script, then slash bash, starting with it because it's a Linux script. So I'm just going to put some like commands, like some comments which will help us identify or debug the issue if we find any. We'll create like this backup script. And here I'm going to give you a timestamp, which is basically my date with very specific details like year, then I will go with month, and then I will go with the date, and then I'm going to go with the hour, and then the minute, and then the second. Because we are creating snapshots, so it will be better if we do this, so that it's very precise for us also to debug and to see whether later what is happening. So what will be my mount point? Basically the place where I'm going to, for which I'm going to take the snapshot is this. I'll just give it like, I'm going to do it for the whole root folder today. Okay, now where will I be storing my folder for storing the snapshot? So my folder is, I'll name the variable as snapshot folder, and I'm going to give the folder name here, and which will be, let's say, snapshots. Okay, so now I'm going to create a snap, like let's say like right now as we saw that we don't have a snapshots folder. So I'm going to create it just in case. I'm making that the application of this particular script is also to create a snapshot folder if you are running it for the first time. If it already exists, we are not going to do anything, it will be skipped. So for that, I'm going to put up a script, create a snapshot folder, and I'm going to test it. If -d, we are going to check if this directory exists, snapshot folder, and if it does not exist, then we are going to make this directory mkdir-p snapshot folder. We are going to give it the permissions, and we are going to make sure that the root is a owner of it, because we don't want someone else to come and meddle with the snapshots. As a system administrator, it should be like, let's say if I have 10 users, the access should be only to the root to do everything on the snapshot folder. Anyone else shouldn't be allowed, and if they are allowed or they want the access, we can give them access later on also. So I'm just going to give it to the root snapshot folder, and then I'm going to modify its permissions. So I'll be using sen50, and here I'm going to do snapshot folder. Okay, so once this part is done, I will close the conditions, and now what I'm going to do, I'll create a snapshot name. So I want the snapshot name to be very dynamic. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, this is something which is actually comes generally when I'm running the Gentoo, so I'll just ignore it and I'll do fi. And okay, let's go to, I'll create a new, create snapshot name. Okay, so ignore the line because that will go anyhow once I save the script, so that's not a problem. It's actually a comment or a command, like a prompt which comes from Gentoo. So that's fine, that's nothing to worry about. Snapshot name. So what I was saying was that I'm going to create my snapshot name. So what I'm going to do here is I'll keep the snapshot name very dynamic. So I will not be doing anything. I'll be just using the same date format which I have used in the first echo line to be my snapshot's name, because at that time I can easily go and see, okay, this was 2023 4th April, on that day at this particular time I created this snapshot, and that is how we can easily access it. We can keep it anything, whatever we want. So let me write it down, $snapshot folder / and then I'm going to use the same format, this date space plus %y dot %m dot %d hyphen %h dot %m dot %s, and this is done. So this will be my snapshot name. Once I'm done with the snapshot name, now I'm going to check just to keep a security check, code sanity, to keep it intact. We are just going to check whether the snapshot exists or not, like the name which we have given. Okay, because we want it to be unique, we don't want it to be a different name. So we are just we don't want it to repeat it basically. So to keep that in check, we are just going to put a condition here. So we will check if the snapshot already exists. So for that I'm going to do if, again we are going to put a test condition -d, and then we are going to put the snapshot name, $snapshot name. Okay, and then I'm going to do then. Here again I'm going to do echo. So if it does not exist, so this is basically to do it when the snapshot does not exist. We are just going to do creating a snapshot with the name. I'm just going to specify for which folder we are going to do, for root with the name, $snapshot name. and we are going to put the command. So here we are creating a snapshot now. So we are going to put the command BTRFS, BTRFS subvolume, and then we are going to put snapshot, and I'm going to make it a read-only snapshot. So here I'm going to use $mount, or we can even put this. It's totally permissible, whatever we want to do, and then we are going to put snapshot name. Okay, so what will happen once this command runs is it will create a read-only snapshot for the root, and it will store it with the in the snapshot folder with the name which we specified, with the date and the timestamp. Okay, so like now this will be done. So now let's say if there is a scenario where the snapshot name exists, we'll get ID of the most recent snapshot for the user. Okay, and then with that we are going to list the snapshots, and then we'll find the new files and create a new snapshot if necessary. Okay, so I'm just going to put it in comments once, get ID of most recent snapshot for the user here, which will be root. So here I'm going to do last snap is equal to $-d snapshot folder, and then I'm going to put star, and then this, and then I'm going to put something called tail -n1. Okay, so this will basically give me the most, like, you know, the tail command helps me get only the one value. Tail -n1, n1 means it will give me only the recent most snapshot, because the listing is done on the like basis of the directory, and I'm just going to do it on only, I'm going to select only one name of the snapshot, the last snap, and then I'm going to create something called last gen, which means basically last generated. And here I'm going to use a BTRFS command which we use there, where we were listing it. So I'm going to put subvolume, and then I'm going to put list, and then -s, and then I'm going to do last underscore snap, and here I'm going to do, I'm using something called AWK to print a value, print $2, and then I'm closing it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to explain the two commands first. So what does my ls-d, the last snap, basically does is ls-d snapshot folder /* and then space, and then there's a bar, and then tail -n1. So this command lists all the subdirectories under the snapshot folder that matches the pattern */. Okay, and which will match basically all the directories, since every directory has a slash at the end, and then passes the output of that particular command, which is before the bar, to tail -n1, which is nothing but it returns the last line of the output. So this effectively gives us the path of the latest snapshot subvolume, which will be used in the next command. So going to the next command is last gen. So in the last gen command, what happens is we have written BTRFS subvolume list space -s, then we have given the last snap which we collected from the first command, and then we are giving an AWK command, which is AWK print $2. So this command lists all the subvolumes which is under the path specified by the last snap. Okay, and then which is the path of the latest snapshot subvolume obtained from the previous command. So in the previous command we did a tail -n1, right? So we got one output, like we have only collected one output. So using that output we are going to run this command, and the -s option tells the BTRFS subvolume list to display only the subvolume ID. So -s gives you the subvolume ID. Now once we have got the subvolume ID and the path, and it basically -s is giving you subvolume ID and the path of each subvolume. Okay, and then we are going to use AWK print $2. So what print $2 is, it is taking the output of the BTRFS sub volume list -s dollars last snap, and because we have two components in the output, which is sub volume ID and the sub volume path. So we are going to use AWK print $2 to just get the path of that particular the output of the BTRFS sub volume list. And from each line, the end result is just a list of paths to all sub volume under the latest snapshot sub volume. Okay, so now what we are going to do, assume that we have got all the paths. So now we are going to again find new files, because we are going to create, we're going to find new files which are which have been changed in the creation of the last snapshot. Okay, and which are necessary to create a new snapshot. So I'm going to, if necessary, we are putting it here, because if the files are same, then we don't need to create a new snapshot, as I suggested before. So I'm going to type it down, the commands. So I have put up a variable called new files, and in this we are going to write a command, and then I'll first write down the commands and then I'll explain them. So I'll just do $BTRFS sub volume find new, and in this I'm going to give the root directory, and then I'm going to do $last gen, and then I'm going to take the word count, and I'm going to close it. So I'll do this. So basically, let me explain what the command is, then I'll move further. So here I have written BTRFS sub volume find new. Okay, so what is this is basically this line finds a number of new files in the root directory that have been created since the last snapshot was taken. So here think it of as a comparison. So we are going to compare the root directory with the last gen, which is the last snapshot which we generated, the path of which we got from the last gen. We got all the several paths, right? So we are going to compare it, and then we are going to count the number of lines. So here what we are doing is which this BTRFS sub volume find new command, this will find all new files in the specified volume. Here in this case it's a root folder that have been created since the specified generation, which is basically last gen. Okay, and then WC-L, which is nothing but word count, -L stands for line, is used to count the number of lines of output, which gives us the number of new files. So this will give us the number of new files. So in this command we are now going to, we had let's say if I reiterate from the beginning, we had created we take the last snapshot and we compare, we print all the paths which are present inside that last snapshot using the BTRFS sub volume list -s last snap. Now we are going to see all the new files. This is just basically a comparison. Okay, the new files will give us a number of counts of the the files which have been changed. So what I'm going to do, we are going to see that if $new files is equal to, is greater than, I'm going to put is greater than 0. Okay, so if it is greater than 0, that means the new files were created, obviously. So then if it is greater than 0, I'm going to take again a snapshot, because that's what the purpose is, right? We are going to create new snapshot if the files have changed. So I'm going to echo creating a new snapshot for root at snapshot underscore name, and then we are going to run the command, which is BTRFS sub volume snapshot -r, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do $snapshot underscore name. Okay, so this, once this is done, it will as usual create a read-only snapshot for the for the root folder. Okay, and in the backend, obviously, we will be only the snapshot is an incremental one, so it will basically store only the change files. Those were the only files which will be changed. So finally I'm going to do an else part, obviously, which is for this code sanity. We are going to put that no new files have been changed being changed. So no new snapshot is being created. Okay, so once this is done, we are just going to close all the things and wait, we are going to close this and then we are going to close this, and finally I'm going to echo that the backup has been created successfully, or let's say backup script finished successfully. And then I'm going to put the timestamp again just to make sure that we know what is happening. Then I'm going to do %y again, dot %m dot %d hyphen percentage dot %m %s, and that's it. So now I'm going to save this, and so I can see that my script is created, but right now as you can see the script does not have a execution, executive permission. So we are going to make sure that it has that. So I'm just going to chmod plus x snapshot creation.sh, and just to verify it, we see everything intact. We have it as executable. It is under root, so no one else can come and change it and or execute it. And here finally we have a snapshot creation script. So now what we are going to do next is we are going to execute the script. So I'm just going to do dot slash snapshot creation, or I'm just using tab because there's only one script and it would automatically create it. So let's see if it gets done, and it got done very quickly. As you can see, it is giving me backup creation started at this time and creating a snapshot for root, and it has given me a name which is snapshot slash 23.04.05 22.41.10 with a timestamp, and create a read-only snapshot of the root in the folder. So now let's go and verify like whether the snapshot was actually created or is just giving me a bogus comment. So I'm just going to go to, let's see if snapshots exist. So now I'm just going to that folder and I'm just going to see if it exists. And yes, I can see this folder. So we have a folder here, and let's see if I can go inside this and what are the things there. So you see everything is there. So basically the snapshot gets created and you have all the contents of the snapshot here. So I'm going to try and verify whether in my home do I have the particular user or not and the files or not. So I'm just going to do cd rami and then I'm going to do lsltr, and yes, I can see all the folders there. Okay, so I just ran a clear command just to clear the screens, and now I'm just going to do one thing. So now the thing is, we can think that, oh okay, we have all the folders here and we can do anything what we want, right? But let me show you something. So here I have done lsltr, and now let's just do some we will try to mess up with the files like f1 and f2 inside the RAM. So now I want to do, like, let's say I want to try to write something down in this particular folder, and I do that. Oh, I can see the nano screen and everything, but wait, what is there? So I see something called file f1 is unwritable. So this is what it means when I'm saying that when we created a snapshot which is a read only, we can't do anything in this file system. Okay, it is there, it is in front of our eyes, we can see it, but we can't change anything in this. So even if I copy it or something, it won't work for me. So now we need to restore it. So now let's get back and we'll try to restore the snapshot. So before going there, let me try to show you some commands. Let's go to the base folder, let's go to the root, or let me just go to the root, and here I'm in the root, and I'm just going to show some commands which will be very handy when we are doing when we are seeing like how to see what are the volumes which we created and everything. Sorry, the snapshots which we created. So I'm going to BTRFS. So if you want a help in BTRFS to see what are the commands available, I can type BTRFS help. Okay, and we can see a lot of options coming down. Because of the screen size, we are not able to see everything, but here you can see BTRFS create, BTRFS subvolume delete, and there are several options inside that. So now let's go with the BTRFS subvolume list. Okay, I'm going to type BTRFS. Let me just clear first. Clear BTRFS subvolume list, and let's see what happens when I type help. So these are the different options which I can see. So what I'm going to do is there is an option called list only snapshots in the type filtering, like -s. Okay, so I'm going to see all the snapshots which are available in like list only the snapshots which are available under BTRFS. Okay, so again it is giving me an error, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again type help. So this is a very easy way to check for the what are the arguments it is expecting after that. So as you can see, it is again like it's saying list only snapshots and read only volume. So what I'm going to do here now is I'll just let's say I'll give root, like this is the place where I want to see. So it has listed me the snapshots of the root folder. Okay, you can see everything. You can see the ID of the snapshot, gen, cgen, top level 5, and all the time of the creation and everything. You have got everything here. So now this is a very useful command when it comes like when you say let's say you have 10 snapshots, then you can easily check with this command that which snapshots you have for a particular folder. Okay, so I'll move further, and now we are going to extract the snapshot. Okay, so let me clear the screen. So here I have already cleared my screen. So one thing which I would like to list here is, so this particular command gives me all the details of the particular sub volume. Actually, this was one thing which I missed previously, like mentioning is that for the root you will get all the properties of the root. So it is giving me the snapshots, it is giving me everything like the path, the IDs and everything. So this is one of the very useful commands when you have BTRFS system in your particular device. So now I'm going to try to restore it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder where I'll be storing all my restored files. So I'm just going to do mkdir. Let me just name it restored. Okay, just mkdir restored. Okay, and I'm going to change it to 750 restored, and I'm going to own it with root because I don't want right now anyone else to use it. Okay, so let's see if I have restored here, and yeah, we can see that restored is there. So I'm going to clear this, and so now what I'm going to do, as I already have a folder called restored and it has nothing right now in it, it's completely empty. So I'll run my restoration command. So I'm just going to clear the screen so that we have a good view, and then I'm going to do BTRFS subvolume snapshot, and then I'm going to give the path of the snapshot. So the path of the snapshot is snapshots 2023, and then I'm just going to give here restored. Okay, and it's saying create a snapshot of this and this, but now when you go and you see this folder, you have this particular command, and this basically is nothing but it creates a new sub volume. Okay, because like we have, instead of using BTRF restore, we should use this BTRF subvolume snapshot command to restore the snapshot to a subvolume. So this is a way we have to restore it to a subvolume. So now I'm going to see my contents of my file, and I'll see if I can, as we saw previously, we can't do anything in home Rami and inside that file. So I'm just going to try to see if we can do something here. So again, I'm going to do, let me do lsltr, or better clear the screen and then do lsltr, and then we have here F1, F2, F3. So now let's see, we can do anything in F1, nano F1, and yes, you can like hello, I'll just type hello there, and I'm going to close it, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to see lsltr, and as you can see the F1 has been edited and we can see the cat F1. So this is a way how you can restore the files. Obviously there are some there are commands which is basically where you have to use command as BTRFS restore. That's also an option, but for BTRFS restore you need to make sure that the folder which is given in the destination, like here I gave this particular folder in the destination here in the sub volume command, just let me, yeah, here I have given slash restore. So slash restore should be mounted, and then only we should we'll be able to restore it. And the snapshots also, like the part which is there, should be mounted. So that is how the restore command works. So this is all about how you can basically create backup the folders of a particular of a particular path, and how you can restore it. So it might seem a bit weird that we are using the same command to restore also, but actually this is a way where we use the same sub volume snapshot. We take out the content of one particular snapshot, like here it's 2023.404.05-22.41.10, and we put it into another. So it kind acts like an extraction of the snapshot contents, but with all the permissions intact, and you can edit it. Like right now this is a readable snapshot, but that one we can easily edit it, and we can now once, like let's say it's restored, you can easily go and do whatever you want in that folder. Like you can copy from there and put it into your real folder wherever you want it, or you can even mount it to some other place where you can use it further, mount on this place or maybe on the server, wherever we need it. So this was all about the Gentoo on Gentoo using BTRFS, how we can take a snapshot and how we can restore it. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a great day ahead.